All right, I got 9 o'clock, and so we'll call this regular scheduled session of Boyle County Fiscal Court into order, and we'll start off today with a invocation by Magistrate Jason Cullen.
All right. Our dear, kind, gracious Heavenly Father, we are so grateful to be gathered here today. We are grateful that you have allowed us another day to watch over the proceedings of the Boyle County Fiscal Court and of Boyle County. We ask that you will put your hands out over this community and our state and our country, and just help it to heal. Help us to live and love more like Christ. And we ask that you will put a special blessing on those that serve our military, our first responders. Please bless them as they continue to go into harm's way to keep us safe. We ask that you will watch over our close family here that is suffering in many different ways, and that you will let them feel your love and help them through their times. And we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. If you join me, please, with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Just a quick announcement. We have 2 short. We have a quorum still on our magistrates. I will need to leave about 9:30 for a short welcoming ceremony to the Kentucky Jailers Association. It's meeting here in Danville out at our fire station on Linden Road. I'll turn the gavel over to Magistrate Salmons at that point and let him finish the rest of the meeting. And with the agenda today, I will try to get back as soon as possible, but I may not make it back before the end of the court. The fiscal court clerk I had a need to go get some medical attention, so she won't be here today, and Julie will be taking notes and minutes for future consideration. We'll go ahead and get started and get a lot done. First, let's approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Make a motion to approve them.
Second.
We have a motion made by Magistrate Salmon, seconded by Magistrate Cullen, to approve the last regular scheduled meeting minutes of 28 June. Any changes? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, and the motion carries. Thank you for that. All right, next, we need to pay some bills, and Mariah is also, Miss Darlene has that for us today.
I do. There was a bill total of $763,546.26.
Make a motion we approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Salmons, to approve the bills. Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, budget transfers. Now you're on again.
I was going to say, I think I actually don't have any budget transfers since it's the beginning of the year. So
yeah, I would think not.
Thankfully, no budget transfers at the moment.
Okay. And cash transfers. Any problems, sir?
I do actually have I have one that was a cleanup. I accidentally made it twice. that was my mistake. The other is actually I'm moving jail money that was part of House Bill 556. We had kept it separated instead of doing a budget amendment in last year, so I'm moving it into the joint jail fund so that it'll be an active part.
Yeah, that is.
So that totals $171,699.03.
Make a motion we approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the cash transfer of $171,699.03 made by Magistrate Cullen, seconded by Magistrate Ellis. Is there any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. All right, now, it's up to me on the consent calendar, and in your packets or in your iPads, I've asked for a recommendation to appoint or reappoint Mr. Bob Gorley, who many of you may know, to the Parksville Water District Board. And the term would end on 12 July of 2026. And if you have any, questions, now's the time to ask that.
So moved. Second.
All right, motion to approve Mr. Gorley as a reappointment to the Parksville Water District Board was made by Magistrate Ellis and seconded by Magistrate Sammons. Any comments or questions?
I'd just like to comment
Yes,
about
sir.
his incredibly important role with the ARPA funds that went to Parksville several months ago, and the repairs that are being done, they're underway right now, crossing creeks and roads, and I know Bob has been visiting those sites. And he's amazingly important to the entire county.
I agree. Anybody else? All those in favor of the approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Next, although he's not here to defend himself, which is also sometimes a very dangerous relinquish of connection, but Jailer Brian Wofford is completed his 40 hours of training for the calendar year 2022, and he's up for an incentive payment for completing the training. And so we have a letter here from the Department of Local Government signed by Wendy Thompson certifying his completion of training hours and the appropriate remuneration that goes along with it.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
I have a motion to approve by Magistrate Sammons and seconded by Magistrate Ellis. Anybody want to string him out and make it?
Well, I've had to think about it over the weekend.
Because over the weekend. Good, see, you got that, Brian? They're giving it careful consideration.
I'm just glad that Brian's leadership has put him on the statewide board in
Yeah,
the first term.
KJA, yeah, absolutely. We have in my personal opinion, an excellent jailer who's doing a great job out there at the detention center.
He has a great attitude about where he's trying
He
to
does.
help people.
He does, absolutely. And that doesn't exist across the board,
And not a bad book you just published.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Which, no plug intended, but I think it's this weekend on
Book signing.
Saturday at Dry Stack, is it? But he'll be doing that, the book signing. All those in favor of approving this time and this compensation for his training hours, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, and motion carries unanimously. Thank you for that. Mike, if you'll step up and bring to us some potential new employees.
Thank you, Judge. We have two employees or candidates to consider for employment for full-time. Two brand new EMTs from our EMT class is Grace Simonson and Ashley Metcalf. I'd like to consider them for
I'll make a motion we approve them both as full-time EMTs.
And is there a second to
Second.
that?
Second.
Okay, Magistrate Cullen has made a motion to approve both of these ladies as full-time EMTs and seconded by Magistrate Tom Ellis. Questions, comments?
Where you from?
Who are they?
I'm Ashley, and I'm from Lancaster.
From where, ma'am?
Lancaster.
Grace Simonson, I'm also from Lancaster.
Welcome. We need you.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
You have anything else you'd like to say, Magistrate Cullen?
Well, I know Grace is also one of our Boyle County Fire Department volunteers, and see her quite often when I'm out there watching them do all the work. So, I know from being with the fire department that Grace, I know you lost your grandfather, and we're very sorry about that. And I know you held off going so you could be here this morning. We appreciate that very much. And so we wanted to get you guys up to the top here, and so you could be on your way.
Get you on the road out. Where was your grandfather?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
I think in the Quakertown area.
Okay. Okay. So you got about an 8 to 9 hour drive probably to get there, don't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, again, we're sorry for the loss in your family.
Yeah.
So, but we're happy y'all are here, and we're glad y'all got
Yes,
to
we
the
are.
class. So,
These ladies are both graduates of our local EMT training criteria and everything. So,
they said they'll give us a review of the class later when Martin.
yeah.
Anyway,
Any other comments or questions?
no.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. I think Mike's start date is immediately, or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. The motion passes for hiring unanimously. Congratulations, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, yeah.
Okay, is Dr. Tipton out there? Do we know? Mike, can you see if she's out there?
Hey, y'all don't have to stay if you want to leave.
Yeah,
That's
feel
completely
free to
fine.
leave, ladies.
Thank you all.
Tim
Yeah.
can take, she's
This
not
is-
there? Okay. Kendall, why don't you
See y'all.
step
Thank
up
you.
and plate if you're ready?
Travel mercies.
Morning. Just like the fiscal court, we have a brand new budget we're working with, and also some changes to our board. Alex McCroskey, who was our board chair, he finished up his first 3 years, decided not to be reappointed, so you all have appointed me a couple new board members. So I wanted to tell you about who's on our board and what the leadership structure is right now.
Okay.
As of July 1st, Lynn Ty, she's our board chair. Tim Montgomery is the treasurer, and Janet Hamner is our vice chair. Susan McGilligan, who works at the Hampton Inn, and Rick Saris, they're still on the board. And we now have John Bowling and Lisa Bottom, which I'm glad to have her, because she's kind of my eyes and ears over in Perryville. I sat down with both of them for about an hour last week to kind of go over their responsibilities on the board and what we're about. I think they're both good fits, and we have some good ideas to bring to the table. So for the current fiscal year, I wanted to go over what our budget's looking like. It's a little misleading. It's a total of $662,000, but that includes a couple of one-time allocations that we've got. One of them was some EDA funds and some ARPA funds, and not all that will be spent this fiscal year. They can be spread out over a few years. We're going to spend part of it this year and then some for the next 2 fiscal years, but that's the total budget. As it breaks down, we're expecting room tax revenue of $255,000 for the coming fiscal year. We're going to have about $18,000 from the EDA grant funds, and the ARPA funds have not been finalized yet. We think it's going to be about $125,000 based on the projections that they gave in some meetings over the past several months. And those funds will be able to carry over. We're only going to spend, I think, maybe about $25,000 of those this year. And then there's another $12,500 in matching funds that we get from the State Department of Tourism for participating in marketing and advertising campaigns through them. And then we're going to carry over about $250,000. That surplus was due to revenue far outpacing what was budgeted, and some carryover from CDB being understaffed or not staffed at certain times the past couple of years. So that money is just compounded. We've got plans for that. With the revenue we have available, we're going to spend about $37,000 on local sponsorships for events like Brass Band Festival, Dock Dogs, just different community events. We have a program where they can apply for funding, and then the board decides how much to give, so we give back financially that way. We're going to spend about $167,000 on advertising and marketing. It's everything from digital advertising to brochures and brochure distribution. There's also $165,000 budgeted in a category of community investment. That's going to be a couple of one-time things we're looking at doing. I don't want to say too much about them because we haven't finalized that, but it'll be things that will enhance the visitor experience. Still working on exactly how that's going to look. Got another $13,000 budgeted for different professional memberships and continuing education for CDB staff. We're going to spend about just under $30,000 on our operations and just over $142,000 on personnel expenses. And we're going to carry over $106,000 of that EDA and ARPA money into some future fiscal years. So that's kind of like that's the highlights of our budget. We're getting back to pre-pandemic levels on our room tax revenue. We're seeing really good numbers at our hotels. It's very, very promising. So looking ahead for the next several weeks, we're going to be involved with and assisting in some different events. This weekend we got Doc Dogs is coming up at the showroom. They requested and received some financial support from us, and we're going to set up on Saturday and be the visitor information booth, have a presence there. We're still working with the Goldwing Road Riders, who they're having an event at the showroom in August. I'm in regular communication with them about different needs they have. All their members are pretty much based outside of this area. The chapter president lives in Covington, so they're always asking me for information about vendors and things like that. So I'm staying in touch with them on a regular basis.
We don't have any coming in out now?
I don't know. They're still doing registration right now. That's still open.
And we may have a continuing relationship with them, I understand.
Well, unfortunately, a couple weeks ago, the Goldwing Road Riders had there's a big event, I think they had in Missouri, and during the event they announced that they are disbanding the entire organization as of the end of this year due to declining membership and some other factors. So this may be the only year we have them here. We were hoping to have them for 3 or 4, but
yeah.
And it was kind of shock to them when it happened. They didn't expect. I mean, it just announcement was made and nobody knew it was coming. So
Are you supporting the Turtle Derby down in Perryville?
we are. Yeah. We're also supporting the upcoming Deaf Festival. It's going to be held at the Norton Center. I've been working with Rachel Rogers and Virginia Moore. We've had several one-on-one meetings helping, just like with the Goldwing Road Riders. They're not from here, so there's a lot of local information they need. We helped collect a bunch of items for gift bags they're going to give out to the performers. I think they're pretty happy with that. And we're going to be set up on that Saturday to be the information source for people who are there from out of town. And last thing I wanted to,
you mentioned this at the city, I think, before, but how many are we expecting to come into town for this?
they said 8,000 to 10,000. That's what they're expecting. So big event.
Deaf Fest,
Yeah.
8,000 to 10,000.
Mhm.
Wow.
Right.
And it's being held here for the first time since I think sometime in the 90s. 96. And they've moved around to Covington, Lexington, Louisville. But since KSD's having their 200th anniversary celebrations going on, they moved it back here this year to kind of coincide and lead into that.
Make sure in your communication on that folks all across the nation know that our deaf school here, 200 years old, is the first in the entire United States joint venture, public-private, that ever was. The one in New York State was the second. So.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The deaf community had quite a presentation last night at the city meeting.
Yeah.
I watched it, and they asked for a banner to be displayed, and so that we go through those hoops to get that done. They made quite a presentation though for those who watched it. So.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that you can do is also make sure you're just working with the local restaurants and with the local hotels, just for that time period to make sure that the accommodations are made for the individuals that are going to be there. And some of the people that actually were there last night would be great people to speak with to help you, make sure that we make this, a very welcoming event.
Yeah, Rachel said they're going to put together kind of a little informational brochure to give to the restaurants, kind of know what to expect and how to make things flow as easy as possible.
Yeah, 8,000 to 10,000 people is a lot of people. So
yeah,
it's a time to show off.
It's a third of
Yeah.
of our population.
And that's why I said we may just want to kind of figure out, a couple nights where you get together with some of these local owners just to kind of make sure they're aware, because I don't even think they're aware. So
probably not.
But yeah, I mean, it'll be big, it'll be impactful, and tough community loves to go out and socialize and eat, and so. In fact, my son right now is over at KSD, Simon. He's over there because they're having the Deaf Mini Olympics.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, right now. Yeah, and so he's started on Sunday, and it's just it's has kids from, of course, KSD, and you know there's 2 kids from Woodlawn. You know, Simon's one of them, and then Toby Mills. But there's kids from Michigan, from Indiana here. I mean, it's not a huge group. We're talking maybe under 50 kids, but it's kind of a neat little thing, and they're going out all over the place. They went to the bowling alley yesterday to do some of their little Olympic stuff. It's kind of cool thing that they've had, and they'll be here next year too.
Feedback's already appearing on Facebook, and it's devastating to have lost all our trees downtown. I know that's not your accountability at all, but it will affect visitors this summer, because I've walked up and down those Main Street a couple of times, and anything you can do to make sure and help people understand what we have, what we're dealing with, and that it's going to be a rather long duration. I was glad to see that this winter they're going to be planting trees again, if you haven't seen that yet.
No, they are, and the trees that they're planting, there's actually some thought was put into what kind of trees. They aren't going to disturb the sidewalks and stuff like that, like they have. I mean, when I had the hub, I saw over the years 4 or 5 people trip on various parts of the sidewalk that was just, I mean, you're talking an inch, 2, 3 inches high. So
Kendall, just as an idea, you've got things to do in Danville, brochures down there, and you might want to just put them in the hotel rooms or in the...
Absolutely.
And also there's maps of the downtown that Mary Lynn has, if you want to consider putting those out and distribute them out in the hotels.
Yeah, we can do that. We do have our brochures at the hotels.
Yes.
That's covered. Yeah, we can probably work with the hotels.
Well, just think about it. That's your call, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you headed over to CenterWorks after this for the street parking issue that they're going to be talking about?
I might.
11 o'clock.
Okay. I've got another meeting at 11:30, so.
And tomorrow night is 7, is that right, Tom?
That's correct, yeah.
We're seeing a lot of people in town. Like I said, the occupancy rates are high, and we're sending out our brochures. And the kind of neat thing is, I don't know if you all know Steve Klein. He works in our visitor center, and he talks to everybody that walks in, and he always asks, "Why are you here? Where are you from?" And tries to give them a brochure. And a lot of people who come in recently have had the brochure in their hands. We mailed it to them, and they're from Michigan and Pennsylvania, and they bring the brochure with them. But that's obviously having a effect. So we put a map up on our visitor center, world map and a U.S. map a couple weeks ago. And
Where they come from?
yeah, we're seeing people from, I already saw people from Washington State, Montana, Arizona, Texas, Florida, Alabama, and most of our surrounding states. And this is just in the past couple weeks. That's a nice visual just to see how far away people travel. And there's one from China too, and I wasn't there when they came out. I would like to have met them. And we've got a logbook too, where people write in their information.
That's a good idea. I like that.
We've seen several from Ireland in recent months, but just a little bit everywhere.
Good. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, thank you. I don't know if this is in your, because we don't do it for Heart of Danville, but there's been discussions before about trying to bring the Main Street parable person under your umbrella. The thought was there because right now the county is kind of stipend that money over to them, but I think it was John that mentioned that maybe Main Street Parable is a better fit under CVB than it is anywhere else if they need the help. So I don't know if you want to have that conversation with Allie and also the mayor of Parable and see what we can do to help bolster that program down there, because Tom and I always joking that we're the bookends of Boyle County, and and so you being kind of the center, we need to know what's going on in the west, especially with all the potential that Parable has.
Yeah.
Even in between there are events like the Turtle Derby, but this is the 160th celebration or commemoration of the battle at Perryville, so that is huge, and I know Allie would appreciate the help.
Yeah, I stay in touch with her on a regular basis.
Good.
And they're actually going to request some funds to help with the commemoration as well.
Good.
Wonderful. Well,
Kendall, I've got a couple of things. First, I'd like give you, as I thought about you coming, I thought, well, I've got several questions if you will put up with me.
All right.
That first, the court has seen this visitor spending by county in the year of 19. This was put together by the Kentucky Department of Tourism. And Boyle County ranked pretty well, in my opinion, and so this becomes kind of my bar to see how we're continuing as we go down the future. And one of the first questions I really wanted to ask you was what you thought about brass band, because there's a lot of community work, a lot of volunteerism, obviously a lot of money, brings a lot of people in town. How do you think this year went? And do you see some changes that you would like to encourage going forward for the next one? Because we can't continue to do the same thing year after year after year. And what changes would you're in this world, so this is your excellence. You got any thoughts about that? Because planning starts when they turn the lights off on the last one, the planning for the next one starts then. You got any thoughts?
Well, first year I went to brass band, so I don't really have any comparison to past years. So this is kind of my.
Which brings me up to a question that, as I made some notes, you're younger than some of us around this table, and you weren't that far up the road in Lawrenceburg. Why did you not come? Because you're the age of people we want to try to be sure and attract. What was it that didn't bring you here?
Nothing in particular. I actually I got an invite to go. The last year they had the full event, and I was actually out of town that weekend at marketing college. Right. And previous years I really couldn't tell you. I mean, it was a great event. I really enjoyed it.
So you would probably agree with me that we need to attract a lot of different generations of people.
Right.
And you're a little bit different than certainly me. I wonder what would grab you, because I think we need to give that area some thought. What grabs every generation and every person out there, and try to provide the same entertainment that you saw this year and enjoy as potential?
Yeah, well, my personal preference, of course, I'm a little younger, so I enjoyed the what was going on at Washington Park on that Friday night. That was more in tune with what I like. And personal preference. I'm not really into the more formal.
Okay.
Yeah. We gotta have something for everybody too.
You've hit on a point that you all, as you do planning, in my opinion, needs to be considered to attract that generation of folks, because so much work goes on here, and to put it on, you want to see and take all the advantages that you can to bring people in.
Right.
So that's an area that you and your committee, I'm sure, will talk about and discuss. And those of us involved with the authority that is just being put together need to think about that maybe we need to give more attention to tourism type events to bring people here, because we rank pretty good when you look at the list, and I'm sorry I didn't get it to you before. But I think you will agree that the spending of $44+ here in Boyle County is significant dollars to all the people up and down the street and everybody in the county, and helps their coffers maybe ring a little bit better. Plus, it's an opportunity to show off, which is a phrase you'll hear over and over from me, because that brings people here.
Dovetailing right in with Magistrate Kaywood, he and I have encouraged in the past some deeper activity by, Economic Development Partnership. That now is certainly in a state of flux, to say the least, but we have opened the door to Center College, working through their finance director, to find a way. They want the propriety of maintaining confidentiality to their graduates, but when you look at, as Mr. Kaywood was saying, the age groups that really have the mobility, the ability financially, and everything else, you're not going to find a better group than Center College graduates. Come home for the weekend, come home and see what you might do, buy land, build a business, And they're all over the world, not only in the United States. But if you will work with Center College on this, I know that they're willing now to reach out, because we've had discussions with them in the past, and they are now ready to help us to recruit back a reinvestment, both psychologically and financially, from Center College graduates. I'd start with the 25 to 40-year-old complement and see what we can do for next year.
All right. I'll give 2 quick seconds here because I know Magistrate Samuels wants to move us right along, but Julie's husband, Robert, made a great point when we were out at the picnic that I think what would kind of help some of the younger, I'm going to put myself in with you since John gave me a nice compliment, that if we could kind of get some more modern music played through the brass, I think you would see a lot of people kind of getting up that can relate more to it. I know there's some bands out there that'll do it. We heard a couple, and it was funny after Robert had said that, people were kind of getting up dancing once they started playing some, some stuff, little, 70s, 80s kind of stuff. Yeah. So anyway, 2 cents. So
One more thing, if I may. The Bourbon Trail, are we taking all advantage of that? I think it's wonderful to be a part of that program. Are we using it to the maximum that we can?
Yeah, we actually have a membership that CBD does, membership in the Bourbon Trail, which gives us access to use their social media platforms, their calendar of events, to help promote us through their network. Right now we have one distillery on the trail. I don't know what Luca Mariano is going to do whenever they open up, but having an extra distillery here will certainly help draw more people in and keep them here for a longer period of time, especially being on the other side of town.
Francesco's got big plans, but
Yeah, I was excited to hear what he's going to do out there.
other festivals coming to town. I know is there one coming in September that, like an art festival coming in September?
Yeah, Mimi Becker is bringing back the Constitution Square Festival. People were very excited about that when that was announced, and I've spoken to some artists myself who I've recommended, and I know she's got people lined up for that. It'll kind of flow right after the farmer's market that morning, right into our Constitution Square Festival.
Kind of goes back to what John said about trying to attract people, and what kind of Tom said about trying to bring back people. The more local we can make this, the more excited that we get our own community about these events, the more they're going to talk to their friends and say, hey, we've got this great event coming into town, you got to come for it, kind of thing. They're going to be our best ambassadors. So,
yeah, definitely getting locals involved in anything we have is very important.
I mean, if you see what's happening right now at the Constitution Square for our farmers market, and that was, the farmers market had left, and then they were out at this high school, and then, this court brought them back, and it's huge down there. If you guys haven't been there, you got to go and see all the people that are coming, and they're flooding downtown. So that was basically just a word of mouth and having good local stuff.
All right, Kendall, thank you very much for coming in and visiting with us today. Appreciate the information and updates. I've got one other thing I would like to, I guess Dr. Tipton's still not here. I would like to go through and just get a court approval of the recommended comp time agreements,
I'll
which
make a
you have
motion we
4 or
approve.
3.
Second.
And we have a motion to approve the comp time agreements made by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Kaywood. Any questions, comments?
Nope.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those like sign, motion carries. Now, the only things I see left are the last 4 bullets on our agenda, and I am, out of necessity, going to go greet the Kentucky Jailers Association and turn the gavel over at this point to Magistrate Phil Simons.
Please tell Jailer Wofford that I can't come because we got to keep our quorum.
Right. Okay.
Love to be there.
Thank you, gentlemen, ladies. I'll see you as quick as I can get back.
All right. We'll have it done by then.
All right.
We'll probably have it done as soon as you walk out the door.
Moving right along, right? Moving right along. We hope to be finished until it's back, right?
Yep.
I don't know why you gave me that. I wasn't need it.
Okay, moving right along, where were we?
We're now on Mike Rogers, EMS Director.
Okay, I
Number
thought
5.
he finished a while ago, he didn't.
One other thing on the agenda, but I promised you last court meeting that I would get you the financial summary from this. Jason's already got one. We
Yep.
talked about it. It just goes over all the financials for last fiscal year. We're about $1,111 short of 1.8 million, so it's pretty good. So with the run numbers are up, the collections are up, and everything. So if there's any questions on that, I can answer them. But just for your information, really, I promised you last court meeting when I gave them to you. So.
So we bill for 4.4 million, and then deductions start there, and so that's 2.3 million. So then we're looking to hopefully collect 2.1, but we get, would you say, what, about 1.8?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Contractual allowances and all those types of things.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so I wanted to talk real quick about, we talked about it in our department head meeting. The judge asked me to put it on the agenda to update the court, but it's something that if you're around me very long, I'm very passionate about and I talk about it a lot, but you know, about 70 times a year we have a patient that has a sudden cardiac arrest. And a lot of times these patients, that they don't make it. And it's largely because we're missing pieces of the puzzle from our community. We need people to do hands-on CPR before we get there. And it just doesn't happen. One of the things we did a few years ago was to get emergency medical dispatch through our Danville dispatch. People still are hesitant to do CPR. And so I've been trying to get this done since 2015, but been wanting to get a video that's at the beginning of, when you sit down at the movies, a 30-second clip on how to do hands-on CPR. The reason why it's important is because if they get CPR before we get there, if CPR is provided to the patient before we arrive, it can double or triple that patient's chance of survival. So it's huge. I feel like, CPR has been around a long time. People were hesitant during the mouth-to-mouth because nobody wants to breathe in other people's, that's obviously that makes sense. But now they found through studies and different things that the reason adults go into cardiac arrest is not because of lack of oxygen. So most of the time they have plenty of oxygen in their body. You push on their chest and they're going to get some oxygen just by the way the body works. You push on someone's chest, they're going to get some oxygen in. So hands-on CPR is one of the big pushes from the American Heart Association, from the Sudden Cardiac Arrest Foundation. It's something that's important to Boyle County, obviously, because 70 people last year, suffered this diagnosis. So it's something I would like to see the city, the county, and the McDowell Health to really focus on. It's a puzzle. It's a puzzle piece that we have to put together. It's a complicated puzzle, but again, and our numbers are higher. I think just because we have an older population. So, but that doesn't necessarily even just, between 18 pediatrics, there's in the United States, there's about 7,000 cardiac arrests, and we see them here too. So age doesn't really, isn't the only part of the puzzle, but it is one of the things that we consider. But a lot of times, people who have sudden cardiac arrest, they will, the first time they have cardiac, they don't realize they have cardiac problems until it happens. So the national average is about 10%, and in Boyle County, it's lots of years we're lucky to get to about 4%. So it's something that we need to talk about. We need to keep talking about. I've been on the Joe Show several times talking about hands-on CPR. We offer hands-on CPR to anybody in the community. We'll come out and do it for free. If you have church groups, if you have school groups, if you have, we've done it everywhere. But it's just something that
What do you want us to do?
In your packet, there's a proposal that you can do a 30-second ad giant movie theater for 12 months. It's about $6,900 if I remember correctly. But a 30-second ad to teach people how to do hands-on CPR, you know, is a very effective way to get the word out.
Would you produce that locally?
The company that you pay they'll produce it for you, and so it would be, we would use some of our own people.
I think that's key to it.
Yeah.
And then it'd be local. I know I saw on the news a week or so ago where a 10-year-old boy saved his father, and his father looked to be 40 or less.
Yeah.
And all he did was hands-on. This is new to me because it was always both techniques.
You're thinking about going to the schools and maybe putting on a program like this?
Yeah, we've been, I mean, you know, we taught Stop the Bleed in all the schools in Danville, Boyle County. We provided them with Stop the Bleed kits with arterial tourniquets and things. And,
Right.
so we've been there a bunch. I know they all had, I know that the Boyle County School has their own CPR program, and we have taught this past spring CPR class for the culinary students at the Boyle County High School. So we're in the schools. It's just, we just need to keep at it. Keep getting this message out.
Can we table this?
Yes, sir.
I know you had talked about possibly looking for grants. I know you've been looking for grants.
Yeah.
But grants and possibly other local things, maybe that we can get some buy-ins,
Yeah.
maybe from the city, because a good portion of the run volume
Yeah.
comes from the city.
80% of the cardiac arrests are in the city.
Yeah, so maybe we talk to Danville, maybe Ephraim, and just kind of make this a group effort to try to put something together.
Yep.
Mike, if this was produced and shown at cinemas, and the school wanted to show it to their students, would they be able to take that same production and put it in the school so that the kids can see it? I don't know. I don't know if that could be done.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I have to find out about that.
I don't believe so.
We've worked with Ephraim. We've done a social media video that we put out. I think it's been about a year ago. So it's not hard to put together. I mean, you know, the information is all right at our tip of our fingers. So we just need to, you know, it's just a matter of doing that part of it. But
Since you've worked on this since 15, another month or two, probably won't make or break you.
Yeah, we
Your
started,
heart rate.
the hospital came to EMS in about 2012 when they started their chest pain accreditation. So I was on that committee, and then, which has kind of sparked my passion for it. We have all the tools we need. I mean, we're lucky that we have a cath lab here in Boyle County. A lot of counties don't have that, and that's a burden. But you know, something that's far with that technology, you know, that really makes a big difference with our patients.
With due respect, I'd be glad to make the motion. I think it's a good idea to give you more time to put some pieces together and bring back to us.
Yeah, for sure.
We're starting down the road, so I'll make the motion that we table it to give you more time to develop a more full program. Respectfully, I submit.
With favorable consideration?
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, well, motion, we have a second. Motion second to table it, so when, next court
Next meeting, give you the opportunity to see what you are.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that way we'll keep it in front of us and not
Do you want to
too far down the road.
Sorry.
do you want to do it after that one so the committee's had a chance to kind of look at it first, or?
Well,
I mean, it's up to you.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Your chair, would you like to do that? I'll be flexible.
Let's move it to the 2 from now, so that way we've had a chance to talk about it in the committee as well.
Moving when?
A month from now.
A month from now.
A month from now.
Yep.
Suit you, Mike?
Yeah, that's perfect. I appreciate
Okay.
the judge's, you know, the judge was the one that suggested that I bring it in front of you and update you on it, so I appreciate his leadership.
This will give us all an opportunity as well to maybe reach out to some of these
Yeah,
partners.
I was thinking, I don't think you have, having it to cinema. I like the idea, but what percentage of the county does that touch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not very much. So we have a motion and a second to table it for 1 month.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Mike, we'll see you in a
Thank you,
month.
sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
It's further than you've gotten before, Mike.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, the next, Dr. Tipton not here yet? Thought I heard her.
Nope.
Maybe not. Okay, we'll have our illustrious leader, Mr. Duane Campbell, our
All right, I only have one issue to bring before you today. We participated in the KCO online reverse auction bid for salt. We only received 2 bids. We received a bid from Morton Salt and a bid from Compass Minerals. And the low bid was from Morton Salt for $123.79 a ton.
Make a motion, we approve.
That's up from the 94 it was last year.
I'm sure it is.
motion been made and second. The
Motion.
been made,
Second.
second by Magistrate Ellis. You understand the motion?
Accept the
That
bid.
was how much a ton, 123?
123.79.
Will we still be storing any at all out of Perryville?
No.
No.
Okay, motion.
We take a
Made
little
and
bit better
second.
for him, but no.
No other discussion, I call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried.
Okay.
Before you sit down, what are we paying for blacktop?
Right at, I think it was $92 a ton now.
92 a ton.
Yep.
60 where we're paying it. Okay, Duane, thank you.
The doctor's here from BCTC.
Okay, you want to introduce him? Do you know him?
I know him, but I do not want to butcher his name. So I'm going to allow him to come up and
Yes,
speak
we're
with
glad
us
to have
and
you.
introduce himself.
I assume you're in Dr. Tipton's place this morning?
She's coming.
She's coming? Okay.
Yes, I can wait on her or I can.
Well, we're almost done. We thought she was going to be here around 9.
We
So.
have 10 o'clock, so, but
Okay.
I can start. The name is simple. Think about husband and wife, a couple.
A couple, okay. Doctor, a couple, okay. All right.
Well, by being here, thank you for allowing me to be here. And my coming here has 2 reasons. The first one is to formally thank you for helping us build a new advanced manufacturing center. It is a beautiful space, and I don't know if you all have seen it.
We had toured.
So the second reason is now I need your help filling the place up. And I will begin with this report that was published last year by CPE, Council on Post-Secondary Education. They followed a high school here in Kentucky for 8 to 9 years, and a total of 43,655 students. And after 8 to 9 years, only 55% of these 43,000 students have gone to a post-secondary institution in Kentucky, both 2 and 4 years. 5.7% have gone to out of states. And we all know 10 to 15% will go to the military. But after 8 to 9 years, only 36% have earned a credential, both 4 or 2 year credential. 32% are still in the system or have dropped out with no credential, but debts. 26% have gone nowhere. So the vision I have for Boyle County is, let's target the 26% who are going nowhere. And then let's also look at the 32% of the 55% who have gone to a post-secondary institution in Kentucky and have earned no credential. And how do we do that? Get to these young kids very early on in high school, junior high, and put a credential of value in their hand before even graduation. Because I don't have anything against our PhDs. I've been hiring faculty. Finding the PhD to teach for me is not a problem. Even though we pay them $38,000, $40,000, I'm not proud about that, but that's the fact. But finding a welding instructor today in our country is like a taboo. Or finding an electrician or electrical instructor is impossible. Even though we're willing to pay them 40, 50, 60, 65, 70,000, we still struggle finding them. So my hope is we get to these young ones and give them a credential in jobs that we need today. As you all have seen in the news, Kentucky has become an attraction for all these companies willing to come to us. But you know, when they come, they need a workforce. I came from Ohio, and Toledo just lost a company because they don't have enough trained workforce for them. So I want to make us ready. So long story short, so what I'm trying to do is to get to this kid through dual credits. But state only pays for a fraction of it. But I don't want to turn any student away in Boyle County because the parent cannot afford it. So what I'm trying to do in my team and I is to set up these endowments. And that will be only for this county, paying for kids from this county. So any student, regardless of parental income, who want to take advantage and earn this credential early and go to work can take advantage without any restriction. So that's why I shared that with Judge Hunt before, and he encouraged me to come before you and share that vision with you and see how you all can help us make that vision a reality for Boyle County.
You hit a real hot button when you talked about welders. It's been 10 years ago over in Ashland and all through into West Virginia that they were desperate to get hundreds of welders in that area with steel and everything else that goes on there. They were paying over $30 an hour way back then as a start. If you haven't been over to Mercer County, go and look at their lab over there. I think they have 12 or 14 stalls, and these kids can come out with a minimum level credentialing from that program and come right back over and get full credentialing here at BCTC. So we consider them part of our greater community over in Mercer, because we have a lot of relationships with them. But so many kids, so many would do well to take up all the trades. We have 30,200 and change people in this county, and housing is a desperate situation to our economic growth, and that means you need every trade well trained.
And what I'm proposing is also going to help stop the brain drain and promote brain gain in this county. And the reason is, if you look at the 32% who are still in the system with no credential, they have left their area. But this program will allow these young kids to remain local, earn the credential locally, and get a job locally. So we keep them, but we make them better. And my hope is that you all will support me, especially paying attention to the 26% who are going nowhere.
Yeah. Do we know if there's any sort of transportation that comes out to your campus?
Yes, and I apologize. I thought we were on at 10 o'clock.
No, you're fine.
You're fine.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you guys. Thank you all so much.
That was the old schedule, but we're glad you're with us.
Okay, great. So we are actively working with Dan
Yeah.
to make sure that BCTC, this has actually come up through our Workforce Development Committee, not only just for BCTC, but for the industries that are out in the park there. So I've actually been in communication with Dan Tran to make sure that BCTC is on the bus route on a regular scheduled basis.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I think of just down here, I think a lot of it is people trying to get out to the campus. And,
I agree.
And the more we can get out there, yeah. So,
We're glad you're with us. You want to take over then?
Well, he's the boss, so I'm not quite sure what all he has shared, but I love listening to him talk about that group, right? That group that is not completing. I think for those of you that I've gotten to know over the years, that has been a laser focus of ours, is how do we reach those individuals so they can contribute economically and they can improve the lives of their families. So again, I don't want to repeat anything that he has said.
I think targeting the kids in high school is the way to go. And Dr. Tipton,
And middle schools, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and Dr. Tipton and I have already spoken, we'd like to see about somehow getting our EMT program involved over there as well. And just, I know Stephanie Wade heads up the nursing program for Boyle County Schools.
Right.
And so anything we can do to kind of funnel them in, I'm from a good portion of people started at a technical community college and then went off to a bigger school or whatever.
Yeah.
So in fact, my son's in the process of trying to enroll at BCTC right now. So
Good.
we'll talk after he's done.
Yes, absolutely. Any way we can help him.
Yeah.
What I would like to add to the nursing program, so you all may or may not know, but anytime I get in front of a group of people, I'd just like to share. That position is funded through BCTC.
Is
So
it really?
we make that happen
Wonderful.
for the high school. So
Yeah.
just just any opportunity just to kind of, that's a partnership we've had for many, many years with Boyle County High School. So we'd like to do more, even more dual credit with Boyle County High School and Danville and our regional partners, other high schools as well.
Right, no, that'd be great.
Well, I'm just curious about your goal on the endowment. I know you got a goal on the amount you'd like to reach.
What I would like to reach for Boyle County and surrounding is $1 million, but what I'm asking the court is $100,000 to get us started. And that way, the three of us can get to work and engage the business sector to make sure we meet our goal. Yesterday I waived $16,000 for dual credit student for spring, and there is so much I can do for all 7 of our campuses. But if we can set something up here that will take care of just the student from this county, I think that's what I'm looking for, and I hope you all can support me. Judge Kaywood has a
Well,
question.
about a week ago, I was reading the newspaper, and there was an article in there that really I thought of you all right off the bat. And you probably saw this article, and I've got some copies I will pass around. And I'm sorry that I didn't get one of you earlier, sir. You could be, Darlene, would you pass that around, please, ma'am? Thank you. But to me, it shows that once they complete and go through your operation, there's opportunities out there. I mean, the heading is Kentucky ranked second to Alaska for employers struggle to hire. So there's opportunities out there, and you prepare people for these opportunities. But this says we are not doing a very good job in encouraging people to come to people like you all and with the fine job that you all do to go to the next step to make a very fine living for themselves and their families. And they're missing an opportunity. I think this brought this out. We ranked 47. Come on.
I agree, and I'm glad you brought this up. It's going to take all of us encouraging parents to understand that we are the best kept secret.
Yes, sir.
Because my own daughter, youngest daughter, came to us at BCTC. Even though, by God's grace, I can afford to send her to UK, I said, honey, I'm not paying for that. You come through us. She came through us, went to UK, age 20, she earned her bachelor's degree on May 6th this year. And she already has a job. We'll start August 1st with Fayette County School District.
For years, I've heard Derek Ramsey, who was a pretty well-known person here in the state, and at our conferences, he would talk about folks who do what you all do and how a welder can make a lot of money, or how the skills. Let me just sum it up by saying it's the skills area, the need for that area, and how well they can do for themselves and their family. It's not real difficult.
It's not.
No, sir.
It's not. And we have one great thing in Kentucky, which is supposed to make it much easier, but it has not been making it easier, is schools like us, BCTC, we are Gen Ed certified. And that's what my daughter took advantage of. So everything you do with us, once you earn your associate degree, you go to any university, public university in the States, everything will count. But when they take it for 4 years, with 4 years of take 1 year to there and transfer, universities will tell you that they transfer, but they don't count. That's the nuance that parents don't understand. But if you come to us, my 2 daughters, They wanted UK's credential. I said, you get that UK degree, but come to us and go to UK. The older one is doing a physician assistant. The younger one want to be a teacher. She graduated, 0 debt. 0 debt. And she's working in few weeks. So that's the same thing I want for any kid in this region. If it works for my child, that will work for everybody else. But we need to let parents know that this is something, because they can go to PhD, they can go get their master's degree. The jobs of today don't need those. They don't need those. And as I said earlier, I just made an offer to someone for with PhD yesterday, 38,000. At the same time, I made an offer for electrician instructor, 46,000.
Opportunities are there.
They're there.
The doors can be open, but we gotta tell the story to where the doors make sense.
Yes, I agree.
And somehow, I'm not a marketer, but it's there.
It's going to take all of us encouraging parents that going this route is the most effective and least cost way for you to go. What I'm proposing is will allow many kids to earn their associate degree, their bachelor degree, their PhD at a fraction of the cost. I approve all the selective admission program for the college. And I can tell you we have more and more students coming to us with their master's degree, their PhD, to do something they should have done 8 years ago.
You can't make up time, can you?
You can.
Well, I think it's a good idea, and I'm sure that the county will support it like we always
Appreciate
have.
you, Judge.
Yeah.
Supported you guys, and I'd like to wait till the judge is here full-time, and maybe
I
table this till next.
I would agree that we should probably table this for the full court to
Yeah.
talk about it, and also talk about with our treasurer to see where we can
What we can
contribute
afford, right.
to this endowment.
I appreciate it.
We have been supportive through the years. We can't quit now.
Right.
Thank
Tipton
you.
comes in, she's always got her hand out, we always.
Well, I tell you, she's a blessing. She's a blessing.
You guys don't know what you have there, so.
Well, we appreciate your all support. I mean, really, I feel like this is kind of phase 2. So you all helped us get the new AMC. And now you all have seen it, you've been out there for lunch and toured it. And anybody else that might be interested, we'd love to have you as well. But you know, we have to fill that center up now, right? We made this commitment. And so anything you all can do as leaders in the community to help us with the parent piece, as Dr. Capo mentioned and you all have discussed, we just need your help from a community leader standpoint. Any influence with our schools, that's what we're.
I think that transportation is probably a big, huge piece of it. I mean, the people that could use that certification degree the most, you know, probably don't have the transportation to get out there for those classes that often. So, if we need, well, we should talk to Dan Tran more.
Yeah.
If you run into any roadblocks, please let us know. But
We
you are a convincing person, so I don't see they'll be able to say no for anything.
The biggest thing is, you know, it's the chicken before the egg thing. So if you have, you know, even one person who needs a ride to BCTC should be able to get a ride. They love to have a whole van full, but so trying to get them to understand that it's going to take some time to get the word out. So I appreciate any assistance that you all can provide too, if you happen to have any influence there. But they've been very receptive, and they get it. So I'm confident on behalf of the Workforce Development Committee that we'll have a regular route out there as well.
Erin, I think we need to talk about this at the authority meeting down the road. Give you some time to present it to all of us around the table.
My thoughts exactly.
Make that a high priority.
So
Really.
the EDP meeting,
Yeah,
it's on this,
EDA.
the EDA, yes.
EDA.
It's on his radar, we've talked about it, yes. I think that's a wonderful idea.
And are you working with like Roger Fox over at Shepherd's House and the transitional facility they have to maybe get some of those individuals?
We have in the past, I will say, now we have a new leader who's been named, our new
Yes.
campus director, James Nayhouse. We're very
Going well.
excited.
Go to church with him.
Do you?
They're a great
Yeah,
family.
what they
He's
are.
my neighbor.
He, okay. So, very excited about him. There's some more work that needs to be done there, so we have some opportunities. I will say, and this is Dr. Acapo's leadership and vision, we want to do more with our detention centers, and so
Okay.
we're gonna be doing, reaching out to Brian Wofford to see what type of short-term certifications we can offer to individuals who are currently incarcerated, so when they do, when they are released and back into the workforce, they have a credential, a value that they can take with them and be earning a livable wage, so it reduces the rate of recidivism. So,
Dr. Tipton, I'm chair of that committee, so please include me when you communicate with Brian.
Will do.
Because he is doing a wonderful job in so many venues, so.
I think key is also our county attorney, Chris Erin. He would be great to work with Brian on that one too, to possibly maybe offer some incentives to not be incarcerated as long as they're doing certain things.
Yeah.
So, sure.
with our workforce issue, if we could do work release,
Yeah.
and we could train them, then they go to work through work release, it reduces the time off their sentence perhaps, and then they're earning money, and then they have a little nest egg when they're back in society.
Chris in his office is gonna,
They had the potential to be the most appreciative employee you could ever have, because they got a second chance to build a life.
Chris in his office has done a great job trying to find ways to not incarcerate people unless absolutely necessary. One of the things that we're still trying to work on is like an ankle, monitoring program, which we could easily program into coming to classes or whatever too. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, so.
Okay.
Can I ask a question real quick? I just didn't know if there's anything BCTC can do to address the EMS provider shortage. It's across the nation, but especially in Kentucky. It affects this court a lot because we obviously can't find EMS providers. So any thought about that at all? Any thoughts on that at all?
You want to answer? You want to? We just started the paramedic program in Lexington. We're expanding that to Scott County. And this is my philosophy. If the need is here, we will address it. But for now, we're getting started.
Yeah.
And it's a new program. But Scott County is so interested that the judge wanted us to have an extension in Georgetown.
Yeah.
But we can continue the discussion.
Yeah, it's what happened years ago when EMS services had their own program and then it went to an accredited program. There wasn't an infrastructure to send all those students. So mostly people will veer to the nursing because they think that it pays more when actually it does not. It's very competitive. It's very competitive. The pay is. And so it's something that needs to be addressed. The paramedic scope of practice is expanded a bunch to where now hospitals are using it. They're finding the value. In fact, our medical director, Dr. Grant, he likes working beside a paramedic just because they're a little more, have their own autonomy. They can practice on other set of protocols, and you don't have to watch as much. It's just a little bit different than working with nurses. My wife's a nurse, so she worked at BCTC in the campus here. So.
Well, I don't have any business card. If I can have yours,
Yeah.
we can have a meeting.
Yeah, I give you my copy.
I spend more time in Boyle County than any other 13 counties we serve. So
He does.
Smart man.
He does.
Well, Mike, his group just put together an EMT class. And how many did you have go through, Mike?
We had 15 went through and 14 are ready to test now. There's one that's still finishing up their field internship. And we hired 2 this morning from the class.
Okay, nice.
we'll get together.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Cullen.
I appreciate you guys coming out. And,
That's a good way.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
See you in about a month. We'll
Good to see you, sir.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Okay, I know. Okay,
Jason
you're
Cullen.
number
I'm sorry, we switched about 2 years ago to 9 a.m. So,
3927. Okay. And my card.
we got it done.
You got it. You made it. Nice to see you.
Thank you so
John
much.
Tigley.
Appreciate it.
Everybody.
Yeah, you too.
But you-
Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Oops, sorry. I met you, Darlene. I'm Erin.
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you. I miss you. Good to see you.
I know,
It's hard, it's hard.
Yeah, but
Thank
James,
you.
we're gonna get James fully, and I'm super excited, so, yeah. But thank
He's
you,
got
good
a-
to see you.
He's got a pack of his fishing pole.
You hired a great guy there.
I know,
Steve
I'm so
Griffin.
excited.
I'll keep my eye on it.
If I can help your son, just let me know.
Well, I'm gonna give you a call afterwards.
Okay.
He's kind of fallen into
Steve, here's Julie.
A vicious circle.
a vicious circle of like his account not getting
No, we already
activated.
did that.
Okay.
We'll get it.
We'll get him.
We did that. We'll get him.
I'll call you.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I don't think
Okay.
that big of a deal.
All right, thank you so much.
So,
Bye.
Darlene, I guess is next.
Darlene,
Okay.
you're next.
I'll be quick. As a means of, just kind of like getting everything out there in the open so I don't, nobody's surprised. I wanted to open a new bank account. This is gonna be for the county clerk's storage funds that are part of a Senate bill. And this is not to be commingled with anything else. It has to be a completely separate account. It can be interest bearing and, I guess take it to Farmers Bank.
Make a motion, we approve. If it's interest bearing, I would ask that you shop around.
Okay.
I would, then, yes, it
Okay.
needs to be, it
Yeah,
needs
what-
to
what
be in
bank?
fairness to everybody.
Right,
Okay.
what bank are you
Okay.
closing?
Okay, and
What
then,
account? Farmers?
no, that one's just to open one. That one's just to open one for the county clerk. Then the one that I was looking at closing, possibly, if everyone's open to it, we've had a money market account at Community Trust. It has $54.56 in it, and that's all that's been there for the last 2 to 3 years. Yeah, I'm just not sure if we want
Okay.
to just leave it sitting there, or
Well, I
Which
mean,
account, is that the bank you, what, like
it doesn't accrue interest, it doesn't do anything, it just sits there.
What's the purpose? Do you have any idea?
I really don't know. I'd have to go back and it's backed about 3 or 4 years. So I would have to go back and
It's so low,
kind of
I
dig.
don't spend any time.
and we haven't put any more into it.
We have not added anything into it. I don't know the origination for it without going back and investigating further. I can put it on hold for the time being. I just wanted
Do you
to
want-
start it out.
I'd like to say something real quick.
Do you want,
For that little bit, that bothered me.
do we want to handle these separately, or do you need a motion for each one, or how do you want to do this?
We can do that either way.
Let's separate them out.
Okay.
All right, so I made the motion that we go ahead and open a new bank account for the county clerk storage fund.
And I will shop,
Please shop around.
yes.
Okay, motion been made, I hear a second.
So,
Second been made, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Darlene, you, motion carried.
Okay.
Darlene, you're,
And then on
report
closing,
back to us.
I'll make a motion, we go ahead and approve the closure of that bank, and then you'll just detail later where you transfer those funds to.
okay.
second.
Motion been made and second, close that account, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise, motion carried.
Okay, I actually,
Darlene, I'd
actually
like
got
to
2 more
see you,
things also.
Mr. Manor, what's his name?
David,
David, I've lost his last name.
David
Maynard.
Maynard.
Maynard. He's a real nice person. We had him on the EDP board there for a while.
correct, yes, sir.
So I'd really like for you to look at those guys.
Okay. Okay, also, and this was kind of a last second type of thing. Not really thinking about it because it was a brand new fund. I need to look at transferring, I had put to transfer $2,660 into the fleet management account. I'd like to go ahead and request to do that just so that he's got something in there to to kind of roll with. Right now, he's working off of 0, and we are starting to bill some of the different departments for his work.
How much?
But it's not very much. $2,660.
Make a motion, we approve. And that's for our new mechanic, right?
Right.
Second.
Motion been made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, and one last thing, and I'm sorry about this. This was completely my fault.
That's your second mistake today.
I tell you, I know, I am on a roll. There was a section, and I did add it, it's on the end of
I saw that.
everything. The court security, I had mistakenly, I budgeted one amount, but when we did the wage increase forms, we put them in at a different rate than what was supposed to be there. So this is the corrected rate amount that they're supposed to be paid. And that will go into effect this very next payroll, so I just wanted to make sure that was all fixed ahead of time.
Okay.
I don't think we need a motion for that, but that's
Nope.
great.
Yep,
One thing else?
that is it.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it over to Counselor here.
That's to just be put on here real quickly. So one of my jobs as county attorney is to collect on cold checks, and at the end of the fiscal year, whatever money's remaining in my account from collecting on cold checks, I'm to turn that over to the fiscal court, which I've done each year. I mean, the first year there's kind of a surplus, but if you think about it, people don't write as many checks as they used to, so you know, it's that first year I think I got $30-something thousand. It's not quite what it was then, but anyway, I've still got some money that I want to turn over today to the fiscal court, and I have a check from the Boyle County Attorney's Office for $1,633.34, which I'm going to turn over, which is my statutory duty to do this. So I'm going to give it to Phil.
Thank you, sir.
Can I do a picture? Great, thank you.
And I'll give
I'm
it
going to
to
give it to
I'll give it to
Actually,
Darlene.
hello, she can just put it in.
Thank you. As my grandson said when I gave him $5, he said it's not much, but every little bit helps.
All right.
Thank you.
So I've been gone a couple weeks for vacation, and I had a training last week. But I was looking in the paper, and there's one item, it was talking about the moratorium. I guess maybe you did that last time or the time before. And it said they're going to ask Chris Heron whether or not we can do it for a year or whatever. And so I was researching some cases, and I think you can. There's you have to look at fairness and justice, whether you're restricting one's rights to use their land. And there's this one case, and it was a federal case, and I mean they had a moratorium for like 36 months or something like that. And I think a difference between ours and theirs, which they allowed it, is we're not completely restricting land use. Maybe you can't put solar, but you can still do other things on the land. So it's not like we're a taking of their land, and that was kind of the question when this lawsuit arose over that. Like they're saying, well, the government's taking our land. We're not taking anybody's land. But it's based on my research that a one-year moratorium, is allowable. So I just wanted to let you all know that.
It was interesting listening to Steve Hunter, and I might have confused what he was saying, but it was something about 2 and 3 successive moratoriums, and we're into that now. He was seeming to recommend that if we made it through December, that we wouldn't use up one of our options if we needed to carry it forward with a new one in the new year. Is that anywhere in the statute?
No, I mean, I'm not even looking at the statute. I'm looking at like case law. I don't know that the statute says, oh, you can only do it or only extend it 1 or 2 times or whatever.
That was the point that he was making.
But I don't think there's anything else to that. But I was just saying that, based on my investigation, that, I mean, the Supreme Court ruled that this 30-something month moratorium was okay. So, I mean, ours isn't anywhere close to that. What did we start back in January, February, or something like.
First quarter, I think.
It was either December or January, one of those two.
So we're not even at a year yet. So
No.
I don't.
He was concerned that we pushed it out to January 1, that it will be over 12 months, but that's why I wanted you here, because all of our law degrees have expired. So,
I mean, it says, you know, you should look at it with caution
Of course.
when having a moratorium over a year. But, you know, also, like I said, we're not excluding all use of this land. You know, it's just one specific thing where you can't, at this point, put solar
yeah.
items on the land. It's not saying you can't
People-
have
yeah.
cattle on there, you
Right.
can't, you know, sell hay, you can't do this or that. You know, it's just one aspect of you know, restriction of land use, and not a total,
Yeah.
complete restriction of land use.
As a precaution, would it make sense to make it 12/31 of /22 and keep our options open?
I don't think my day's good. I mean, no, it would be 12 months from when we started it, so whether it's 12/31 or 1/1.
I mean, I think it's fine how you've
Okay.
done it.
All right. We'll stay with it.
Other than that, good to be back. And I have a new assistant. I applied, or maybe I told you all this already, but I applied through the Prosecutor's Advisory Council for a second assistant county attorney. Was granted that, and so now I have Sarah Bryant. She was with the Public Defender's Office for 12 years or more, so she's got a lot of criminal law experience, and she's with us. And now I'll have more time to devote towards the fiscal court, because you guys always have something you want me to do. Tom's always texting me about a constituent, whatever. I'll have more time to be able to get back with you guys and address your needs. So.
Just for the record, Tom doesn't get any more time. We just now get equal amounts of time, right?
Then you better hire 3 more.
I don't have any more room. Like, I thought I was going to get a different room within the courthouse to house some more. I didn't, so we're accommodating the room that my assistant. We did get a room. We do have a room in the sheriff's office. There's a little room, which we're grateful for. But we're a little packed in our office. But we're making adjustments to be able to accommodate 2 assistants in our middle office within my office. So it'll be all right.
All right.
Because usually, if one might be in court. I mean, it's not all the time we're all gone or whatever. So usually somebody's gone, and so it's just we're not usually there all at the same time.
My question is, how in the world did the sheriff have room to spare?
Well, because they're moving over to the driver's licensing, and there's this little room as soon as you walk in the sheriff's office on the right that they used to use as an office. Nobody really does anything there now, so I think they use it sometimes when someone gets served on an arrest warrant here in the courthouse, and they kind of use that as a holding area until they can be transported to the jail. But yeah, so that's a little spot. It's good. I mean, we just needed a place to be able to, put some of our audio-visual items and so forth. I mean, we have a spot downstairs in the basement, but it's about full. I don't know if you guys have been down there, but the county clerk's office has where they have their old voting machines and so forth. And I mean, we've got a bunch of stuff down there too. I think we need to have a yard sale or something, because it's packed and stacked upon.
Never been downstairs.
Everything's stacked up. I mean, you can't get to it, or things that you've put in there. It just keeps on.
Can we move the fiscal courtroom down there?
I wouldn't
We'll get everything out and move the fiscal courtroom down
If
there.
you haven't been down there, it's kind of scary down there. I'm always afraid I'm going to get somehow locked down there, and nobody will hear me for a long time, so I would recommend moving that.
Chris,
down there.
127 yard sale's coming up soon, and I'll rent you some space in the yard.
Well, I mean, I'm not, I'm just saying the fiscal court. Should
Okay,
have a yard sale or something.
Thank you, Chris. Any other questions for Chris? Okay, we'll start with the reports. John, you have a report? No report?
No.
Doesn't it all, John? You want to show up?
They appeared today and I used that time.
Jason? Magistrate Cullen, excuse me.
No, Jason's fine. I am, yeah, I think I used all my time. We're good.
We're good.
I'll take your
Magistrate
time.
Ellis,
Ouch.
5 minutes.
Drive out to Perryville. We are having the state mill down Main Street, Buell and on out of town. There are areas out there that are 12 and even 15 inches higher than the grade, and that has caused some flooding in the historic buildings downtown, and that's now underway. Have you been out there since they started, Duane? Any comments?
The only thing, they didn't mill but one time. I thought they were gonna try to mill a second time, but
I
they
thought
milled
so,
once
too.
and the equipment's gone. So
Yeah. And is that first layer, is that layer gonna be it, or are they coming with a finished grade?
That's, as far as I know, that's it.
I'll double check that.
Milling equipment's gone.
Okay. Number 2, Turtle Derby, you heard about earlier. That's the 30th of the month. Please come out. And in October, the 160th commemoration of the battle in the battlefield and downtown as well in Perryville. Pulse of the People. The judge and I have been talking about doing one out in Forkland, and we're coordinating that with Matthew Ellis. He is the head of Forkland Community Center. The statutes that were passed in this last General Assembly, any that did not have an emergency order go into effect on the 15th of this month. I'm pleased to learn that Senator Douglas, the physician, new senator from the Fayette County area, is looking deeply into the EMS situation and the regulations on 7770 that we're very concerned with. I spoke earlier with Mike about that. So we too will be looking through CAECO on those regulations, because done properly, it will be a bruise to our EMS in this county and many other counties. Done the manner in which the Kentucky Hospital Association was attempting to pass that legislation, it could be devastating to small town EMS all across the state. So we're on top of that as well. Finally, I'd like to mention that we had a forum in Perryville. There's one scheduled tonight in Junction. I hope we can all be there, on the water and sewer systems. We were more than disappointed that in the negotiations of the ARPA, the federal funds, that are bringing $1.63 million to the sewage system in Perryville and over $1.2 million in Junction City. Those negotiations really started very early in the year, and there was no mention from Danville City government that they would, at the very time that the judge was helping us to find a way in those 2 major communities to have a 5% reduction in sewer rates. That was our focus entirely, and I'll use the term, we were blindsided literally within the day that a draft of the contract came by on the sewer systems. We learned that Danville is going to, unless a miracle happens, impose a 7% water rate increase in Junction and in Perryville.
And in Danville.
And in Danville, all throughout the county. But this was not on the table all throughout those negotiations, and should have been. It is not being received well anywhere in the county, and I think that putting things, all cards face up on the table in the future in any of these negotiations has to be demanded when we're negotiating. And there are other issues that some of us are aware of that are going on likewise, very important negotiations that we need to work in unity with Danville City government. So that is very concerning. Please come out tonight. Judge Hunt did a fantastic job of explaining what we have done with the 5% reduction on sewer rates, and how that will accrue to a benefit to the citizens in my district. And likewise, it will be close to the same because the contracts are slightly different, but it'll be close to the same tonight. Junction City, 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock? 6 o'clock tonight. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Tom. Anybody have anything else before we adjourn? Good meeting as usual. Wayne, you don't have anything else? If there's nothing else, I need a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion adjourn.
Second. Mike, second to adjourn. We stand adjourned.